Good morning, everyone. It's morning here. Been up for a few hours now. I think it's 7 something in the morning. I don't know. So I made a post earlier about. I put it on. I didn't put it on Facebook. Haha. No, I put it on YouTube. I'm gonna do a 4-part kind of thing, except this is part 1, so I don't know if it technically counts. But basically, we're gonna go over. It's what I called it was pulling a Gideon. And then discernment. So pulling a Gideon versus discernment. I don't know how, before I forget, King James Version is the Bible that I will be more often than not using. If I'm on the road, I'll use my truck Bible. It looks way worse than this, but that's not a bad thing. You know, a well-used Bible is a really good thing. It's got a lot of those little tabs and stuff in it. It's a little rough, but it's okay. So Gideon is a story in the Old Bible, or excuse me, the Old Testament. Oh, lousy. I am not awake, apparently. I need to drink some more tea. This is peppermint tea. I can't drink caffeine, so. And before you're like, oh my gosh, whatever tea has caffeine, I get caffeine free. So, there you go. So I actually was woken up quite literally just this morning by God. He said, this is what you're going to talk about next. And I was like, really? That's what we're doing? Okay. I don't exactly understand why. I do now. So I will say that I use the phrase pulling a Gideon because I don't know if you know the story. Again, we're going to go into Gideon a little bit more in the next video, part 2. Because part 3, we're going to talk about discernment. And then part 4, we're just going to all together conclusion. Just like whenever you were writing a paper in school and you had to have like the intro, the body, and the conclusion. So I still go, gosh, that's a thing for me. Anyway, so yeah, Gideon's the story, and it's mostly the first part of his story that I want to touch on. It's not a long story. It's really interesting, though. I'll granted. I mean, he ends up leading this army of hardly I think it was like 300. I'll have to go back and look because I'm going to go back over all this stuff anyway. Just because I like going over all these things. So before Gideon leads this army that God, helps him to build, or not really build. I mean, yeah, I guess you could call it build. We'll go over that on the next video. So Gideon, at the beginning, is called by God to do something. And Gideon, basically, in my opinion, tests God, which we are told, do not test the Lord your God. You just don't do that. And again, I'll touch on that too tomorrow. But you just don't do that. That's where the discernment starts or should come in, the wisdom. And discernment, that's not really a story. I mean, there's several stories where you have people praying that God grants them wisdom, and there's a couple of different things in here. And I want to point out, I'm going to actually quote an old pastor I had. I grew up Presbyterian, and there was this one guy who, I think he was an interim, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember at this. I think he was an interim pastor. That's not really relevant, but for some reason my brain was like, I got to focus on that. He actually made a quote that has stuck with me for years. The quote is, if it's repeated, it must be important. Gideon's story is told once, but it is important. But what's repeated is people praying for wisdom, discernment, to make sure that they're hearing the Lord's voice and not something else, Oh my goodness. By the way, this is not just peppermint tea. I throw hot chocolate in there too. Sounds gross, but I promise you it's not. It's just like if you put like orange spice tea in your hot chocolate, it tastes amazing. Because it tastes like those little chocolate orange balls that you get at Christmas. I think it's Christmas. I haven't had one in like 2 years. But anyway, you have to like smash it open, and then that was a interesting thing to see. But you smash it open, and you just eat it like it peels, not peels. It just kind of breaks apart like slices of orange, and I like it. So I like mixing my tea with hot chocolate. Try to get the no sugar hot chocolate just for my personal self. But anyway, I just wanted to say, at the beginning, for those people who, I think the entire Bible is important, and we need to base our lives off of its teaching. We're given, everybody's like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do. Well, we have a guide. We have the tools, to help us do these things. And I don't know, maybe it's just they don't believe, which is, I can't even fathom somebody who doesn't believe. But I've met people who say that the Old Testament is not relevant to today, but it is. And it's hard sometimes to speak to somebody who has their mindset on this, and it's just a difficult thing. We're still friends. I still love her. She's still good people. Even if from the Bible, her views are a little askew, but that's part of it, Don't keep the truth to yourself, but don't like shove it down people's throats either. That's kind of rough. Don't do that. Have open conversation. Apologetics, that's a big one. I have, you know what? I don't know how many books I have on apologetics. Actually, I think there's a couple I haven't read yet, but it's really eye-opening. I'm not saying go out and like, look, I love Charlie Kirk as much as the next person, but I don't know that I could sit and actually debate somebody yet. And I don't know that I would want to sit and debate anybody. I was in debates, like debate, whatever it was, club when I was in school, but I wasn't very good at it. I have a hard time articulating. I'm not that quick-witted. So we're going to leave it at that. Anyway, so part 2, we're going to go over, the story of Gideon, and, how he basically, in the story, it reads that he tested the Lord. He, he goes over, like I said, that's a bit, holy Lanta, this is insanity. I can't speak to save my life. I wonder why I'm getting so tongue-tied. No telling. But anyway, the way he says, make the sheep's wool wet and the ground dry, and then next day swap it, just to prove. And the whole time I'm telling you this, I grew up watching VeggieTales. My son watched VeggieTales, and the whole time I'm sitting here talking about it, my mind goes to when Larry played Gideon, except he's a trumpet. No, trombone? No, what was it? Played something, tuba in the band. And yet he was told by God that he needed to do something, I think, for the football team. I don't remember. I haven't seen it in a while. But the whole thing, I'm sitting here visualizing Larry the cucumber, asking God, not telling, but asking God. Well, no, I guess in that he was kind of telling God, hey, do this and I'll believe you. Wait. Sorry about that. So that's basically what we're going to go over. So I'm going to do some more research, see if I can't pull up some more fun little tidbits, and we'll go from there. Thank you for joining me this morning, early in the morning on a Saturday. The sun hadn't even come up by the time I was still. Actually, it took about an hour, 2 hours before the sun came up. It's now up, and I'm not outside because we're dealing with a heat wave right now. And even in the morning in the shade, you're still going to wind up sweating, and it's, I don't want to do that right now. We got some things to do. I'll deal with it. We got to go do some shopping for my son's football and for school and for, I can't remember everything. That's where my son comes in. He remembers. All right. Thank you for joining me. And I can't wait to see you in part 2 of going over talking about Gideon. And then we'll talk about part 3, discernment. And then we'll talk about part 4, which is conclusion. All right. Peace out, y'all.